Hey guys, what is up, the Gaming Gadget here, and welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of season 3 of The Flash, and as you saw at the end of this episode, our big cliffhanger was that Cecile is pregnant. Now obviously after the baby is born, it's not going to have too much effect because it's just going to be a baby. Now I'm not going to say that it's going to die because the producers and writers really want this to be a more of a fun, loving season than a mournful season, so I do not think that the baby is gonna die. That is not something that I think will happen. I do think though that the baby may have problems, or that somehow it's gonna have these super aging factors where it grows up super fast and I don't know, maybe becomes a speedster? Maybe not though. Now obviously the baby isn't going to be born until next season, but if this so happens that one of the metahumans' powers is to make stuff age faster, we could have the baby age into a kid or a teenager or even an adult, and we can see the life from there. And maybe they're taking a twist off of Bart Allen and want to put him in here as one of Joe's kids as well. My thing for Bart Allen though is I think it'd be really cool if he just came running far back into the past and met up with Barry. That'd be pretty cool, in my opinion, to introduce Bart Allen into the show. Now another thing that we have is that Harrison figured out that these stuff that the Thinker is doing is connected. We don't know that it's the Thinker, we don't even know who it is from the team's perspective, but Harrison Wells has figured it out that they're connected somehow. No, obviously this is going to lead the team to more investigating, and eventually we're going to find out that it's the Thinker, otherwise known as the Vogue. Now if the team was really smart, they get Wally to stay here, because for some reason the Thinker doesn't want him here. But I don't think that's going to happen. We'll probably see him next, maybe in 1 or 2 episodes, but other than that, there's the crossover where we have the wedding with Barry and Iris. Okay guys, so one of the things is, how did the Thinker know about the Speed Force, and how did he know that the Flash was going to come out in the way that he did? He'd have to be someone connected to them somehow. Maybe once a speedster, maybe he has a problem with his brains and that's why he's hooked up to a computer. Well yeah, now it's possible that he could technically, just because of his computer, been able to calculate all of it in his head. But it's very unlikely if you don't know anything about the Speed Force, and I'm pretty sure that the computer would probably know very little about it as well. Now obviously though, Brainiac didn't know who the Flash was until he put that camera in the samurai's head. So how did he know that there's going to be some reaction with dark matter that would give these metahumans powers? And also, why does he need them? Now, we don't exactly have too much of an answer for this right now. My guess is that he may even be from the future trying to take over the world from an earlier point on in history while it's still vulnerable to attack. Now in order to do this though, he needs a whole bunch of metahumans on his side. We do know that in the comics he was able to mind control the Flash, and I mentioned that in the first episode review of this show. But what if he is going to control all of the metahumans to work on his side, and if all the power together, he's definitely going to be able to take out the world. Now where he's from, there might not be these many metahumans, because as we saw in DC Legends this week, in the future, Argus is controlling all the metahumans and has locked them up in prison. So he doesn't have that opportunity in his future. So that's why he's come back here to get the metahumans to control the world on his side, and he will be the king. And his assistant is there to join in the luxury when it actually happens. And this may be my wildest guess of all time, but we have heard very little about Julian. In fact, all we've heard for him is that he is just going away back to his country to be a scientist there. And we've heard that one line. So, what if our favorite assistant CSI, Ian Albert himself, not only alchemy, but the Thinker himself? Now it's possible that maybe something with the Philosopher's Stone, since it's connected to future Barry, and with the Speed Force, maybe there's just something with it that since he was under its influence, and Speed Force released all that dark matter when Barry went into it, maybe just somehow it reacted in a way that gave him a lot of damage, and in order to live, had to connect himself up to this computer to preserve his life. But in doing so, the computer also gave him smarts. Now Julian knows some stuff about the Speed Force, and obviously he knew who Barry and Cisco and the whole team was, so maybe that camera was just to spy on them and see what their next move was. His assistant we still know very little about. We do know that Julian's sister appeared to him though, after he had gotten the Philosopher's Stone. So maybe that is his dead sister, who isn't actually even there. Now Julian could want revenge on Barry. To do that, he just needs metahumans powerful enough to revolt up and destroy Barry themselves. Now this would need new groups of metahumans, as Barry has already put the majority of them away into his Star Labs prison. But if he can get all of them rounded up into one spot and then release all of the prisoners from their cages at once, we will have a massive uprise of metahumans. Now, we did have the second last episode of Season 2 be the Metapocalypse, but those were all villains from Earth 2, so it's fairly easy to get rid of all of them by the vibration. These metahumans, though, are not going to be able to take the same resistance unless they kill Barry in the process as well. And obviously the team wouldn't do that. It's just a wild guess, though, guys. I'm not saying that it isn't, but it is a certain possibility. Now, obviously, we don't know too much about him to start making these big predictions like this, but that was just my theory on it, guys. Now we got Harry back on the team as well now, so that's pretty cool. And obviously, Jessie is having some father issues at the moment. I don't think we'll be seeing her very much this season at all, unless she comes to spend some time with her father. But, you know, she kind of kicked him out of the house. So unless it's an apology, and I don't know, she kind of seems like she could be an apologetic person. Otherwise, though, she won't come back into the show until something like that happens. Now, one of the villains for our next episode is going to be someone who can shoot fiery laser balls out of his hands. Now, this could be Caitlin's boss that we have been talking about for a couple episodes now. She did quit her little gang thing in the first episode and went all Killer Frost on the guy. And so the boss of that gang could be this guy who can shoot fireballs out of his hands. Otherwise, he is just going to be another one of the Thinkers villains, or just another metahuman in the first place, guys. Our next villain is going to be the Elongated Man, which is pretty cool. So the team is going to have to somehow try to put him back together. It's going to be interesting to see that one get glued up. That is going to do it for today's episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on next time. Make sure to join me later on today for a review on DC Legends and a review on Arrow on Friday. I will see you guys all next time. Thanks for watching, and of course, Gadget on.